Well, good day. So, for this Christmas video, I figured we would get into the Christmas mood with one of the most bizarre Christmas episodes ever. I'm talking about Rambo Christmas. So, alright, let's go.
Yeah. So, we start off on a cold Colorado day at an orphanage, where an orphan child named Brian is mad at all of the other orphaned kids. Because it's Christmas time and they're orphans, so therefore they will never get gifts. Even though the kids tell them, yeah, no, we still get gifts every single year, Santa brings them. But Brian, bah, he don't believe in no Santa Claus, and therefore he runs away from the orphanage in the snowstorm that is happening. With running away in a snowstorm, Brian gets lost in a nearby forest. Which is horrible, but where were you going? Why didn't you run to the coffee shop and get some hot chocolate or something, man? Or just, run to your room, you know? Luckily, Rambo and Turbo just so happened to be flying around in a little mini helicopter and were able to save Brian from freezing. So Rambo takes Brian to Santa's workshop to get some hot chocolate and to warm up. Wait, he takes him to Santa's workshop? It's here? What? Was the North Pole just, incredibly too cold? So Santa decided to move his workshop to the warmer climate of Colorado? Really? Well, no, not really, as it turns out. This is not the real Santa Claus. This is Kris Kaufman, a former rocket scientist turned pacifist, and is now making toys instead of weapons of mass destruction. Turns out Rambo helped Kaufman escape his former country and defect into the United States. So a Christmas hero Kaufman is now. And Rambo helps Kaufman by being Santa's helper. Man, that is quite the origin story for Santa. I love it, but, man, wild. But the terrorist group called S.A.V.A.G.E, led by General Warhawk, remembers Kaufman not as a Santa Claus, but more as a missile maker. And he wants to reinstate Kaufman into the exploding business for S.A.V.A.G.E. So with that, Gripper and Sergeant Havoc start attacking Santa's workshop. What? They're attacking Santa? I don't remember a Christmas Carol about Santa being under siege. But Rambo, being as resourceful as he is, starts fighting back with toys. Because, well, that's the only thing lying around that he can make a weapon out of, and is actually doing a pretty good job of it. But sadly, Sergeant Havoc kidnapped Brian, and now he has a hostage, so he takes off. And that can mean only one thing: snowmobile chase! Woo! And it's actually a pretty good chase, right? Some zigs and zags, a cat and mouse chase, but eventually, Havoc is knocked off of his sled, and Rambo saves Brian again. Unfortunately, on returning to Santa's workshop, Rambo notices that Kaufman is gone, and his entire workshop is turned upside down. So Rambo knows what's going on, right? Rocket scientist, S.A.V.A.G.E is looking for him. So Rambo goes and tries to find Kaufman using Santa's sleigh. Oh man, that is so surreal. Even more unfortunately, Gripper and Havoc are chasing Rambo in a biplane, and they blow up Santa's reindeer with the rocket launcher. I don't even know what to say anymore. This is a Christmas story, right? Well, either way, Rambo jumps onto the plane and defeats Gripper, who thankfully decides not to use his Uzi submachine gun and, uses his fists. And after some fancy flying from Sergeant Havoc, Rambo jumps from incredible heights out of the plane plane to the hard snow below without suffering even a scratch. Wow. But most importantly, Rambo learned where S.A.V.A.G.E's temporary headquarters are, which is at the logging mill. Meanwhile, at S.A.V.A.G.E's temporary base, General Warhawk is trying to convince Kaufman to join S.A.V.A.G.E, or else he will be placed on the easily escapable conveyor belt of doom. But thankfully, Rambo sneaks across the lake doing the old log driver's waltz, where he eventually infiltrates the mill, but is unable to save Kaufman and gets himself stuck under a pile of logs on the conveyor belt of doom. Things are getting pretty serious. So serious that after Rambo frees himself, he goes completely shirtless and uses a hubcap as a sled to follow S.A.V.A.G.E in their escape truck. You know, like a lot of the other things I can kind of let slide, but this? Like, they're not even trying to be logical, you know? And along with that, you know, it's Rambo, so he easily and quickly gets to the escape truck, where he easily beats up Gripper and Sergeant Havoc to gain control of the truck while General Warhawk escapes. So Christmas is saved! Hooray! Santa is rescued, the toys are delivered to the orphans, and Brian learns about the Christmas spirit. And with that, that is the end of this merry tale.
I don't even know what I just watched. So yeah, like if you know me, man, like you know that I love Christmas. And I also absolutely love Christmas specials, Christmas movies, Christmas episodes, all that kind of stuff. But I also really love some random, obscure 1980s Christmas episodes. And I don't think I can find anything more obscure than this Rambo Christmas episode. Oh man, just like on the outside looking in, it's so insane. But, you know, like, if you take it from a Rambo point of view, then, you know, it's actually a pretty logical, good Christmas story. This series is mostly based on the movie Rambo First Blood Part 2, which has a lot of violence, has a lot of war involved in it. So if you, and I don't know why you would, but if you would take that story and turn it into a Christmas story, then boom, you have this episode. And in that regard, it's actually perfect. Rambo doesn't stop being Rambo even during the holidays. And Kris Kaufman is a pretty awesome stand-in for Santa Claus. Like, if you were to make a Rambo version of Santa, this is exactly it. Former rocket scientist turning into toy maker? If the dude can build rockets, he can absolutely build a train set, you know? And this episode realistically did have to go all the way in on all of the war themes that happen in this cartoon series. Especially if you consider the X-Men, the animated series, Christmas episode. That was probably one of the most hated episodes by the fans in that series. That episode was really lovey-dovey and heartwarming and all that, but it was the exact opposite of what every episode was, which is an action-driven series. So if you made a lovey-dovey, heartfelt Rambo episode, yeah, you know, it really would not actually kind of fit. So like I say, man, random insanity, but it's also sane. If you haven't seen this episode before, I suggest you do, you know, if anything, just for a laugh. But with that, we do have some more behind-the-scenes kind of things with Rambo and Christmas and all that kind of going on over here.
Hey, so yeah, there you go, man. Rambo Christmas. Very interesting Christmas episode. So, as you can imagine, there's not really a whole lot to talk about with this Christmas episode. So let's just kind of see what we can find. First off, if you didn't know, technically, Rambo is no stranger to Christmas. The first time we see him in action in the 1982 movie First Blood, that movie took place during Christmas. Nothing really involved Christmas in the story, but it was Christmas time, which makes the movie First Blood as much of a Christmas movie as Die Hard, or, dare I say, Batman Returns. 3 action movies that just happen to take place during Christmas. But, unlike First Blood, this episode absolutely does feature Christmas. And, well, technically, not the Christmas that you're familiar with, especially in terms of Santa. So this episode does not feature the well-known version of Santa Claus. As ridiculous as this episode is, if they did actually include the real Santa Claus, that would be a bridge too far, but they tried to replicate Santa as best they could, and they actually did a really good job. So our Santa in this episode is Kris Kaufman, and the name Kris Kaufman is fairly close to one of Santa's other names, Kris Kringle. Well, close enough, Kaufman absolutely tries to embody Santa as much as he can. He has the Santa suit, he grows his beard out long, but to slightly differentiate Kaufman with Kringle, Kaufman has a gray beard and hair, not the white hair and beard of Santa. As we know, Santa Claus has a toy workshop, and therefore so does Kris Kaufman. A pretty complete and authentic looking Santa-type workshop. Although Kaufman's workshop is not at the North Pole, like Santa's, his workshop is in Colorado. But to make it feel more like the North Pole, this story in Colorado just so happens to be taken during a blizzard, making it feel more like the freezing cold North Pole. Santa Claus has a sled with flying reindeer to deliver toys to the kids. Kaufman has a sled with the regular earthbound reindeer, which, yes, did thankfully survive the rocket launcher attack. And at the end, Kaufman and Santa both deliver gifts, with some help from their helpers. My only complaint, while it is pretty cool to see Rambo dressed up as Santa, really, if he's Santa's helper, he should be dressed up as an elf. But, he is Rambo, so he cannot take a second fiddle to anybody, including Santa Kaufman. So, all in all, like I say, man, pretty interesting Christmas episode. Really, actually good job of blending Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Santa Claus, into a story. So it is what it is, and there it is. So, with this, that, those, and the other things, I guess that's that. Also, if you're interested, I created my own comic book channel, 215 Comics. And currently, I have created my own cartoon series, The Adventures of the Density. And recently started a radio series featuring my newest character, Elastoma, with more titles to come. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave a link up top here to that channel and some links at the end of the video. Yeah! Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, feel free to do so. Or anything else, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, have a great day. Thanks.